Right, so Rishi Sunak might have hoped to turn things around a little bit this summer, but he's failed miserably. And his parliamentary party are sharpening their knives as yet another unwelcome Tory party leadership challenge is being mooted. Could be on the cards before very much longer, with reports that renewed letters of no confidence have gone in against him, which I'll come on to in a moment. Now, his supporters will still claim, he's been very unlucky, that he's inherited an ice cream sundae of a shambles, as it were, from Boris Johnson, with Liz the lettuce truss being the cherry on the top. And as much as we as socialists, we on the left, can agree with such a point, Sunak has come in seemingly riding on a wave of personal ambition, but without any real ideas of his own. In that respect, he's not unlike Keir Starmer, really. The unluckiness pointed to will be the scandals that have been beyond his control, from the likes of Nadhim Zahawi and his tax affairs to Dominic Raab and his bullying. I would argue he set himself up for this fall to an extent by striving to lead the Tory party and achieving it in the manner that he has, not a single person voting for him to be PM, not the party membership who had already rejected him, the brown-skinned man, in favour of the epically bad choice of white-skinned Liz Truss. But of course he only got the gig in the end through being unchallenged for it. I still believe if anyone else had stood against Sunak that last leadership election time, if it had again gone to a vote of the membership, he would have lost it, because the membership do not like him. And I believe his ethnicity plays a part in that. The racism of the right wing is no real secret. Their culture war on migrants as a viable electioneering tactic appeals to people of that mindset after all. But aside from denying his own party a say in his coronation, if we can call it that, the general public were again denied their say in democracy. Now, the naysayers will remind us we don't have presidential elections in this country. We vote for local candidates, certain parties they may belong to, and whichever the biggest party is, they choose who leads them after all. And although they are, of course, absolutely right in saying that, it nonetheless doesn't sit right with the public that somebody is running the country without having gone to the country first. We still have a sense of wanting to see fair play, even if in reality we often get denied that by stealth. But blatant impositions of the nation's leader is a really bad look. And replacing Sunak now is not going to change that. But aside from the background to a lot of Sunak's problems, he's been a very weak leader in his own right anyway. His 5 pledges, which he staked his reputation on, and his chances going into the next election have all been failures. Inflation is set to rise again next month, according to predictions. The getting the national debt down pledge was a nonsense to begin with. We're going to head into a winter period with new COVID variants on the rise once more. So getting NHS waiting lists down faces yet another obstacle on top of all the underinvestment and continued privatisation via outsourcing and ongoing industrial action going on in that sector, with consultants and junior doctors now set to coordinate action going forwards, fighting to first and foremost rectify a service the Tories have rendered unsafe. Economic growth is for the birds in such a climate, teetering on the brink of recession once more as we are, and Sunak himself has now admitted he's likely to fail on his pledge to stop the boats, because the illegal migration bill is a sick joke in violation of human rights legislation, and is likely just going to herald attempts to see us ditch the Human Rights Convention under this unelected government in order that they might continue their culture war against vulnerable people. But policy alone isn't the sole extent of his failure and weakness. As much as Nadhim Zahawi and Dominic Raab's issues preceded Sunak's premiership to an extent, he failed to suspend them when he was in charge, when said issues gained public prevalence on his watch, demonstrating how pitiful and weak a leader he is, as small in power within his own party as he is in stature. Handing Suella Braverman the Home Secretary gig when he became leader was a surefire sign he has never really been in charge, as he's clearly beholden utterly to her ERG faction. And that is very much the reason why, despite her abject unsuitability, racism, and frankly fascistic, in my view, tendencies, she's still in post. Even members of his own party, parliamentary party, are deplored by her. She's been referred to as a real racist bigot by a member of her own side. So what does that say of Sunak, that he maintains support for her? Where else can we point to? Liz Truss, of all people, has said of him he has no plans for growth, ignoring the fact she caused the biggest economic calamity in recent years, of course. He's seen as having stabbed Boris Johnson in the back, adding to his unpopularity within both the Tory membership and his parliamentary party. So many Tories are stepping down ahead of the next election, the public are seeing this and thinking this guy's a loser, and they don't want to back him. Very much the basis for Keir Starmer's poll lead as they are. It isn't so much Labour winning the next election, rather it is the Tories under Sunak losing it. And that is becoming more obvious. Environmental protections are getting ditched as our rivers stink, and now developer protections are getting ditched. No plans to clean things up until the 2060s, but they're quite happy to make them worse in the meantime. All of that, of course, a slow bit-by-bit bonfire of EU regulations since we Brexited. The Brexit benefits, as these are, they're not benefits at all. Any real positive benefits are still yet to be seen, despite Leave campaigners like Sunak extolling benefits that don't exist. Sunak also abjectly doesn't care about climate change, and this is seeing Tory voters bleeding away to more conservationist-orientated parties, chiefly the Greens. Above all, political parties are judged on the economy, and Brexit has trashed that. Food prices up, energy bills up, fuel prices up, and Sunak has simply thrown more bad money after bad with bungs to the companies behind these to offset our bills rather than renationalising the services, as should be the obvious necessary thing to do. Ideologically opposed to doing that, to doing the right thing, to doing what benefits us, something becoming more and more readily apparent to more and more people. So Sunak is politically inept, disliked by his own party from the membership up to the parliamentarians, and disliked by voters for his ongoing litany of failure, made worse by the fact nobody elected him to lead the country to begin with. No mandate to do so, other than the ones he keeps inheriting. He's done for. He cannot win. And putting the icing on that particular cake is the departure of his advisor, Amber de Botten, who came into her advisory role when Sunak became leader just under a year ago, and she's off as well now. She's used the now is the right time to move on excuse, which translates in political speak as this entire enterprise is now a big shit sandwich now and I'm off. And so we come to letters of no confidence going in as the summer ends. It should come as no surprise, really. Sunak's one-year grace period coming to an end as it is, and with an election needed to be called by January of 2025 at the latest, the Tories can see the writing on the wall. They will lose with Sunak still leading them, so the letters have gone in. 52 apparently have gone in. If true, I think that works out at only 2 more being needed to trigger a no confidence vote in Sunak once that grace period of his ends on the 25th of October. He'll have this hanging over his head for weeks now as a virtual certainty by then. I can only imagine how bad Tory conference will be at the start of that month. The wind's still in Keir Starmer's sails currently as things stand. If passed, and that's a big if, such votes aren't always successful, but given the scale of defeat the Tories currently face come the next election, based on current polling, who would rule that out right now? Yet having said all of that, the prospect of inflicting yet another unelected Prime Minister on the country may not work out to the Tories' favour again. Is there literally anybody left, incidentally, who could literally unite that party now, fractured and busted as it is? Nevertheless, it's hard to imagine anyone could do worse than Sunak now. So is damage limitation enough of an impetus for change for some? Is it just a case of, can I save my own seat if we get rid of Sunak now, going to be what's ticking away in some MPs' minds? What do you think? Is another leadership contest in the Tory party in the offing? Will it make a difference? Who do you reckon might go for it if it passes? Have your say in the comments below. Be part of the conversation. Have your say. Thanks for watching. Hope you found the video useful. Please like, share and subscribe if you did. More content out daily. Meanwhile, here's a bid recommendation where Sunak may feel his way out is to call the election early and wrong foot some of his own MPs. And there's a few other reasons why that might work out for him too. I'll hopefully see you on the next vid. Cheers, folks.